Welcome to Womb Talk. I'm your host, Elizabeth Vanderbilt, a holistic doula and a women's health coach, and the founder of Fruitful Womb Doula Services. This space is for every woman walking the path of deeper healing. Whether you're tending to your fertility or you're carrying life, maybe you're grieving loss or stepping into motherhood, or even easing into the wisdom of menopause. Here we honor the full spectrum of womanhood through story, nourishment, and sacred conversation. So let's settle in, take a deep breath, and begin. Today, I'm excited to have with us Katy Miller, a holistic health coach specializing in reversing the harmful effects of sitting for long periods. Hello, Katy. Can you introduce yourself for everyone, please?
Hi, yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Yes, as you mentioned, my name is Katy Miller, and for me, back pain is the thing that that's the thing that gets me fired up. And that's kind of what I want to teach people about and coach people. And yeah, we can talk about a bit more about it today, but that's the thing that that's kind of my passion.
I love it. And so I guess just dive right in. Like, why is sitting for long periods like bad for us, especially as women, in particular?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one that I think many of us probably can relate to is the aches and pains that it causes. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of muscle imbalances that sitting for long period causes. We get tight hips, our glutes get weaker, and then other supporting muscles within our legs and also our core and our back, they get weakened as well. So they're less able to support our spine, and then we get added pressure on our back, which yeah is kind of a lot of the causes around our back and also neck pain, and then also we get shoulder tension from being hunched up and forward, and then just poor posture is also another one. But apart from sort of the musculoskeletal issues that are very common, there's some lesser known ones as well. For example, blood sugar regulation, that's massively affected by sitting. And you may experience that if you get cravings when you're sat around working, and you're kind of constantly reaching for something. That could be your blood sugar levels, being kind of out of whack. And also, there have been some studies that have related, well, heart disease. I think that's one maybe is obvious because it's, sitting is also equaling to lack of movement. So that's kind of one there. And then also metabolic syndrome. And then some studies have linked cancer to sitting as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of a major one. A few others because there's many things. So yeah, slower digestion from sitting. And if you kind of feeling sluggish after a big meal in the afternoon, then that can kind of be the reason why. Obviously, going for a nice walk after a big meal can help. And it's to do with that lack of movement. Um, Mental health is also affected. So low mood, lack of motivation, kind of some of the milder things that can happen. But yeah, depression and anxiety as well can also become apparent or even be made worse from sitting too much. Then for women in particular, we have a few extra things. So the extra abdominal pressures that you get from sitting, that kind of makes tummy issues worse. And also if you're menstruating or pregnant, then it's not an area that you need any more pressure on, causing pain. And then lastly is hormone imbalances, as well. Cortisol, that is a big one. You don't want too much cortisol. That's our kind of stress hormone. So we're already got enough stress in our life. And if we're sitting down and our hormones are getting out of balance, like that's not great. And also estrogen as well. An imbalance of that can lead to weight gain and other things as well. So yeah, especially if you're going kind of through the menopausal, like that's weight gain is something that is quite common. So you want to be extra sort of cautious if you are sitting a lot because yeah, it can contribute towards some of those hormone imbalances, which you're probably already feeling. So yeah, that's a lot of things. And basically we are designed to move. We used to hunt for food. We used to travel by foot everywhere. So our bodies need this movement to move, and sitting is the exact opposite of movement. And yeah, that's kind of why we get all these problems.
It's crazy. As you're talking, I'm like, oh, I feel like this is directed at me just a little bit. I had done a hair and saliva test, and they were like, you have like really extreme high cortisol. And I do a lot of office work. And so I was like, oh, she mentions that. And then you're mentioning the blood sugar. And I do have some issues with my blood sugar because I get really bad edema in my feet. And so I was like, this feels very targeted the whole time. But no, it's so interesting thing, and especially because today we're so much on the computer. Like I don't know about other people. Like I got a computer before I got a phone, so I'm more of a computer person than I am a phone. I find phone, I'm getting better with it. You can kind of walk and play with it a little bit, but I mean, be careful of signs and like running into traffic. But I live on a farm. I'm not going too far, but it is tricky on a computer. You can't carry around that piece of heavy metal if you were taking a walk.
That is
So
very true.
I'm just curious as to like why is this important to you? What draws you into it? Like the fire, the fuel fire.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, I back in my 20s started well working in an office firstly, and then after a fairly short period of time, I started getting back pain problems. And the longer that I worked in the office, the more stress I got. I definitely had higher cortisol levels back then. And yeah, I started putting on weight, getting more and more in pain, and it just left me in a pretty bad place because I couldn't really do the things that I like to do. I like to be active and go out and do hiking, but I had a real knock to my confidence, and I was stressed at work, and I just felt like I was getting more and more stressed, and I was getting more and more stuck at my computer. After work, I'd sit and watch TV because that was all I had the energy to do. And I didn't like it. So yeah, like I'm actually, yeah, my career was an engineer. And as an engineer, I like to solve problems. So I realized I had a problem, and yeah, like had to kind of come to the root cause of it. And I started getting out there and trying exercises. There were many that they weren't available to me at the time, but I just kind of wanted to try a bit of everything and find something that worked. And yeah, eventually I found things that did work and slowly was able to build up my fitness. And I lost weight and I gained confidence. And I just ended up feeling, very good about myself. And then I kind of started asking around to see if other people had these problems, because sometimes I feel like you have a problem and you feel like you're the only person with
Yeah.
that problem, especially in my 20s as well. And I started asking around, and I realized that other people were going through the same thing, especially older people. So I was just unfortunate that it happened so young, and all to various degrees. But I realized that everyone out there was suffering from all this sitting that they were doing. So I decided to retrain as a health coach, and yeah, kind of make it my focus to help other people to get from, where I was in that stuck place, in pain and not really knowing where to go, and then to a point where, yeah, I can live a fulfilled life. I can go out and do hikes. I'm always setting challenges for myself and pushing my boundaries now. And that's just something that I want to share with other people.
I love that. And by the way, good for you that you were able to kind of problem solve and find the solution for yourself. I always say that it takes a lot of like courage to kind of look within yourself to find the answer and try to figure it out, especially when you have to kind of like the things I'm doing are probably not that great. Like to kind of be bold and look about that at yourself is sometimes very hard to do. So yay on you for that a little bit, just as my 2 cents of stranger and friend. But I'm curious as to like what's the best form of exercise that you recommend, especially for women.
I love this question, because my answer is the best form of exercise is something that you can be consistent with. So may not exactly answer your question, but really, that's kind of what's helped me through all these years. If you pick one thing and you can do that, once a week, twice a week, whatever you can get consistent with, then that's what's really going to make the difference. And you can build up from like as you go through time, but just to start out, like one day a week, that's going to be enough. And being consistent is going to give you kind of the drive to go more. And it may be something like going for a walk. Especially people that work from home, this is something we do less and less of, and including myself as well. Like I really do have to push myself to get out there. So if you can pick like, a certain, every Tuesday lunchtime, I'm going to go out for a walk for half an hour and you can do that, then that's great. So it's just, starting small and being consistent and then building up from that. The other kind of thing that I think is the best form of exercise is something you enjoy, because if you enjoy it, you're going to want to do it and then you can do it more and more. And I would say it's, have a bit of fun exploring about what you do like. Don't just pick something you already know that you like and go out and do that. Try new things and see if there's something else that you like as well. And I have a 3-time rule. So if I try a new exercise, I say that I have to do it 3 times because it's sometimes hard to find on the first time whether you like it because it's something different, you're not comfortable, maybe it's a bit too hard for you. And then by that third time, you get into it a little bit more and you can be like, oh, you know what, this is something I'm going to enjoy, or, definitely not for me. But yeah, I think that's kind of, yeah, that's what I go for as well. And then I think obviously as you exercise more and more, you can integrate different types of exercise into your plan. But really, you just want to pick things that you like and you can do every week and they become part of your life.
I love that. And I feel like that's a great answer to the question because it's really hard to do stuff you just don't like. Like I had done like the whole like there's a free trial with a workout trainer and she was great, loved her personality. But strength training right off the bat, I did not like that. Like I told her, I'm like, I feel like I did it like twice and I was already like, no, no, I don't I don't want to do that more. So I had I like dancing a lot. So I kind of found some dancing workouts and that was just enough to like start the palette a little bit. So like you said, just kind of find something and like you said in the past, they were walking a lot more. And I mean, if TV portrays things a little correctly, they did a lot of dancing. I know my grandmother always said she did a lot of dancing, so I guess maybe that's why it's in me a little bit too. But there was more movement in the past, and nowadays we are so around us with so many busy things that we're not really moving our bodies as well. So I really liked your answer to that. And I guess just because we're so a busy go-go kind of people these days, how do we fit this into our schedule? Like it's hard. Maybe you got a tip from me even.
And no, that's definitely something I can relate to. Like, I feel like my schedule is always full.
Yep.
But I really do. I take time to prioritize it. I make exercise one of those, top of my list things. And I really do put other things aside. And yeah, like really, if you are starting small and building up, that's a very good way to get in your schedule too, because that becomes easier to prioritize, that one thing that you're going to do. And then, as time goes on, you'll realize that you actually do have the time to exercise. Yeah, we always want more time, but I feel like the more time we have, the more time we'll fill with things.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's just really about prioritizing it in there. And also, the more you exercise, the more energy you have. So sometimes it's less about time and it's more about your energy reserves. But yeah, like the more you exercise, the more energy you get, and the more you realize that you have. The time to do it. Another thing you can do too is combine it with other things. If you're catching up with family and friends, do an activity instead of sitting around and catching up, then you are, catching up with a friend and exercising at the same time. And bonus, they get to exercise too. So that's quite a nice thing to do. I actually have a couple of friends who will only meet me at an exercise class because like that is, we obviously chat before and after for a bit, but like they prioritize it so much that that's social time is their exercise time as well, which I really like. You don't
That's
have
a
to be that extreme, but yeah. And then I think also going for shorter, more focused exercises as well. Um, you kind of, think of some fitness people and they spend hours in the gym, or maybe, they go to the gym for an hour each day, which isn't an hour because you've got to get there, get changed, do your workout, shower. But yeah, like that doesn't have to be for everyone. And also, I will say that going to the gym for an hour every day actually isn't enough to combat the negative effects of sitting. Not to kind of scare you or anything, but yeah, if you're sitting for the rest of the day and you're having that hour at the gym, then you're still going to be getting the negative effects of someone that's not going to the gym. So
okay.
actually, trying to incorporate more movement into your day throughout the day in shorter bursts is a lot better for your body. And I find that that's something that is easier to fit in a schedule as well. Obviously, it takes time to implement it because you can't just go from, sitting at the desk all day and then whatever else you do to all of a sudden, having all this movement in. But I've definitely found now, like now I've incorporated movement in my day. It it just fits in with my day and I'm constantly moving and constantly doing things. And I don't have to kind of, unless I want to schedule, a huge amount of time for exercise. So yeah, I think it really, it's more about incorporating movement into your day rather than sort of trying to have like a big heavy session.
Yeah. Well, that seems a little, I don't know, even if it's lumped in an hour, that feels like very intense. Whereas when you do break it up, that seems a little bit more like, and this might just be my brain, but that seems more obtainable. Like I'm a very like since we live on a farm, like we do chores in the morning and that's like a big walk. Like we do it backwards. You're not supposed to walk your cows to the field, but they're like our little dogs. We walk them to the field in the morning for the barn. So that's like your morning walk, I find. And then I haven't been able to add more throughout like the lunch kind of hour that I was hoping, but I do an evening walk with the dog. So I kind of it's not as much as I would hope, but I do find that's better than being like, okay, now I'm gonna go work out from 8 to 9. And that like that seems too intense for me right off the bat. So that's a good idea to actually break it up a little bit and that it's good to know that even if you only just do the 1 hour, you're actually not doing enough. I mean, like you said, not to scare, but it's like, oh, okay, reality check, click. So I guess, how do you start exercising after you haven't done it for a while? Maybe you're like me, maybe it's been like a really long time, maybe you're not used to doing it too much, and how do you incorporate that and start a little bit, get the motivation going, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So taking small steps, that's kind of my biggest thing for people just getting started. Um, committing to a very strict program, following certain guidelines that, that they have in Canada, the US, the UK, that's very hard to do and quite unachievable if you're just starting out. So just taking a small step and each week asking yourself, this step, like, can I take another step? Or, am I going to stick with what I'm doing right now? And it may even be something simple like going for a walk or just, picking one exercise class a week. So what I personally did to start with was go swimming. And yeah, like I could book it in, go swimming, go once a week. And once I started getting consistent with that, and I actually felt like, oh, I'm getting a little bit fitter, then they built on top of that. And there's definitely like a few things, like if you want a bit more of a structured response. So I kind of have a few focus areas. So firstly, just get moving. Like moving is good for your body. So that's something that I would say, just any type of movement get out there, do it, and,
Does walking to the
start
refrigerator
incorporating
count?
things.
I'm
Yeah.
teasing. I'm teasing.
Um, The next thing would be to improve your strength. Strength is something it's very important for our bodies, and especially as we age as well. We want to still be able to be doing the things that we're doing now as we get older, and as you lose muscle mass over time, that is something that is important to keep up. Um, which obviously, you got to find a way to enjoy strength, and maybe there's some things that you don't like doing or you just don't like doing right now. And that's something definitely I would say. If you don't like something, say to yourself, I don't like this right now. Because there may be a point in the future, especially as you kind of start moving and exercising more, that things become more available to you and you may actually find that you enjoy them in the future. So just kind of that's a little
Hint,
tip there.
wink.
Yeah, and then the last thing is, working on your range of motion and flexibility, because that's also something that it's good for your body to kind of get all of your joints and everything moving and having more flexibility, but it's also going to make you feel good as well. And I think that's the biggest thing, like you want to do exercise that makes you feel good because that's going to help you with the motivation to keep going. And yeah, so something that I really like doing is dynamic stretching movements because these kind of hit all of those areas. So they do get you moving. And then also through those, you do increase your strength. And that's kind of like a very good place to start out as well because there's no weights involved. So it's just using your kind of body weight to increase your strength. And then also those will, help with your range of motion and also flexibility as well. So that's probably is one of my favorite exercises, doing the dynamic stretches. And that's something that is very good for any kind of level of fitness. So I think that's probably my favorite exercise to start with. And, it's not just for beginners, it's for any level as well. So that's a great type of exercise to incorporate into your day.
So if no one knows what dynamic movement is, can you explain it? What does it mean? Like, how do we do it? Give us all the insight.
Yes. So dynamic stretching, it's a full body workout. You're just using your own body weight, and it's kind of hard to explain what it is. So I may have to ask you to check it out. But basically, like the idea of it is to rebalance your body, increase flexibility and strength. Your posture will increase. I went for a massage the other day, and the lady said, she was like, you have, very good posture on your back. And I was like, okay, that's something I have not always claimed to have. And that is definitely from this dynamic stretching. And then also, yeah, like if you've got tight joints, this is something that helps. When a lot of the time when I'm doing these exercises, I feel lots of cracks and things happening. And that's these joints being released. And it's just, yeah, like they're just very good for, making you feel energized, youthful, and healthy as well. So it's just very good type of exercise that I'm definitely gonna encourage you to try out.
Okay. So you had given us some links, but tell everybody how they can find you, reach out to you, because obviously you know some tricks and tips under our sleeve. And I mean, obviously we're all sitting right now, probably watching the podcast. We're listening to it, maybe. So, we're probably very well in need of your services. So how are people going to find you? And do you work virtually or in person?
Yeah. No, that's great. So I've got like a little private YouTube channel which has got a few dynamic stretches that you can try out. I got the link to you so you can share that and sign up for that. I'm also doing some classes on Eventbrite, which are also free, and that's like an hour long class, so you
Oh,
can try
perfect.
that out and yeah, get to spend some time with me as well. And then lastly, my email address is katy@painfreeeffect.com, Katy. And if you just got any questions or want to know more about these, this type of exercise, or you want to discuss back pain or something like that, send me an email. I'm always happy to have a chat. So yeah, I would love to get the opportunity to show people these exercises.
That's wonderful. And I hope everybody takes you up on it because that's so very kind of you to be willing to answer people's questions, and get that conversation going a little bit. So I appreciate that a lot. I hope everybody takes you up on the offer. And I guess my final question for you is, and this is always a little off the script, but what does being a woman mean to you?
I like that question. Yeah, being a woman is a very important thing to me, and I think, as I go through my life, it becomes more and more important. And I think the real strong thing that for me is community,
Yeah,
because without having other women around, being around people talking about the issues that we're having, that's something that I would really struggle with on my own. So I just think there's such a great community of women out there. And yeah, I'm just makes me very, very happy to be a woman.
I love that. And I'm so glad you got to come on here and talk with me. This is such a good episode that's kind of like really based for everyone. And like so much information was given. I feel a little called out, I'm not gonna lie. But we're working with it. Everyone just got to see me like be like, yep, okay, so this was a public message for me. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate that you got to come with us on this journey. And everyone who's listening, please join us next Monday for another episode. And we'll see what happens on that one.
Thanks for having me.